Imagine being the shortest player on your basketball team. Not because you're younger, not because you're less talented, but because everyone around you seems to be growing taller while you stay the same. For 13-year-old Ethan Walker, that feeling was becoming impossible to ignore. Basketball was his favorite thing in the world. The sound of sneakers on the court. The excitement of a close game. The thrill of making the perfect shot. He loved all of it. But every practice came with the same frustration. The taller boys grabbed rebounds over his head. They blocked shots he couldn't reach. And every team photo seemed to remind him of the same thing. He was always the shortest. At first Ethan tried not to care. After all, height wasn't everything. At least that's what people kept telling him. But deep down, he wondered. What if he never caught up? What if everyone else kept growing while he stayed exactly the same? One afternoon after practice, Ethan sat alone on a bench watching his teammates leave the gym. Some of them seemed taller than they had been only a few months earlier. That's when his grandmother arrived. She immediately noticed something was wrong. "Rough day?" she asked. Ethan nodded. "I just wish I was taller." His grandmother smiled, not because she thought his concern was silly, but because she had heard the same worry many times before. Then she offered a solution. A solution Ethan had heard from relatives, neighbors, and even teachers. "Eat more beans." Ethan looked up. "Beans?" His grandmother nodded confidently. "Of course. Beans help children grow taller." The answer sounded almost magical. Too simple. Too easy. But what if it was true? Could the secret to becoming taller really be sitting inside a bowl of beans? Or was Ethan about to uncover a mystery that had fooled generations? For the next few days, Ethan couldn't stop thinking about what his grandmother had said. Eat more beans. It sounded simple enough, and honestly, he wanted to believe it. After all, who wouldn't want a shortcut to becoming taller? The very next morning, Ethan found himself staring at a bowl of beans during breakfast. For the first time, he wasn't looking at them as food. He was looking at them as a possibility. A secret. A chance to finally catch up with everyone else. So he made a decision. If beans really helped people grow taller, he was going to find out for himself. Days turned into weeks. Beans appeared at breakfast. Beans appeared at lunch. Beans appeared at dinner. At first, Ethan felt excited. Every morning before school, he checked the height marks on his bedroom wall. Every basketball practice became a test. Every mirror became an investigation. Had he grown? Was it working? The mystery consumed him. Then something strange happened. The more Ethan paid attention to the people around him, the more confused he became. One of the tallest boys on the basketball team hated beans. Absolutely hated them. Whenever beans appeared in the cafeteria, he avoided them completely. Yet somehow, he kept getting taller. Meanwhile, another student loved beans. He ate them almost every day. And yet he remained one of the shortest boys in class. Ethan couldn't understand it. The pieces weren't fitting together. If beans really made people taller, shouldn't every bean lover be tall? And shouldn't everyone who avoided beans stay short? Instead, reality seemed to be telling a completely different story. The mystery was getting deeper, not clearer. One afternoon during lunch, Ethan decided to ask his friends. The answers only made things worse. One friend claimed milk was the real secret. Another swore that basketball made people grow taller. Someone else insisted it was all about genetics. Suddenly everyone had an answer. But nobody had evidence. That night Ethan stood in front of the height marks on his bedroom wall. He measured carefully, then measured again, and again. The result was almost impossible to tell. Maybe he had grown, maybe he hadn't. For the first time, Ethan began to wonder if he had been asking the wrong question all along. And what he discovered next would completely change the investigation. Ethan thought he was getting closer to the answer. But the biggest discovery was still ahead. If you're enjoying this medical mystery, subscribe to Medical Mysteries for more fascinating health myths, surprising scientific discoveries, and unforgettable investigations. Now let's continue Ethan's search for the truth. That night, Ethan sat at his desk long after everyone else had gone to bed. His bedroom was quiet, but his mind wasn't. For weeks he had been chasing a single question. Do beans really make people taller? At first, the answer seemed obvious. Now, it felt more confusing than ever. The tall boy who hated beans. The short boy who loved them. The endless opinions from friends. None of it made sense. So Ethan opened his laptop and began searching for answers. Real answers. Not guesses. Not family traditions. Not playground theories. Science. What he discovered first completely surprised him. Doctors explained that height isn't controlled by a single food. Not beans. Not milk. Not vegetables. Not even protein. In fact, the biggest factor influencing height is something every person is born with. Genetics. The instructions passed down from parents to children. Suddenly, Ethan thought about his own family. His father was tall. His grandfather was tall. But other relatives were much shorter. For the first time, Ethan realized height wasn't something a bowl of beans could simply create. But before he could blame everything on genetics, he discovered something even more surprising. Genes may set the blueprint, but they don't work alone. Nutrition matters. Sleep matters. Health matters. The body needs the right conditions to reach its full growth potential. And that's where beans entered the story. Beans are packed with nutrients. Protein, iron, fiber, vitamins, minerals, all important for a growing body. But there was a crucial difference between helping growth and causing growth. Many people confuse the two. Beans can support healthy growth, but they cannot force someone to become taller. That would be like adding fuel to a car and expecting it to become a truck. The fuel helps, but it doesn't change what the vehicle was designed to be. Ethan leaned back in his chair. The mystery was beginning to make sense. Then he discovered another clue. One that almost nobody around him had mentioned. Sleep. Doctors explained that growth hormone is released mainly during deep sleep. The body performs some of its most important growth and repair processes at night. Ethan couldn't believe it. For weeks he had been focused on food. Yet one of the biggest factors had been happening while he slept. Or in some cases, while he stayed awake scrolling through videos. The deeper Ethan investigated, the clearer the picture became. There wasn't one secret to growing taller. There were many pieces. And for the first time, the myth was starting to fall apart. But one final question remained. If beans don't magically make people taller, why has the belief survived for so many generations? And the answer to that question would finally solve the mystery. The next morning, Ethan sat quietly at the breakfast table. In front of him sat a familiar bowl of beans. Just a few weeks ago, he had looked at that bowl and seen something magical. A shortcut, a secret, a way to become taller. But now, he saw it differently. Not as a miracle, but as a piece of a much larger puzzle. The investigation had answered many questions. Yet one mystery remained. Why had so many people believed the beans myth for so long? The answer turned out to be surprisingly simple. Because people weren't completely wrong. For generations, parents noticed something. Children who ate nutritious meals often grew healthier and stronger. Many of those meals included beans. Over time, people connected the two. Healthy children grew well. Healthy children ate beans. Therefore, beans must make children taller. It sounded reasonable. In fact, it sounded so reasonable that few people ever questioned it. The idea spread from parents to children. Then from those children to their own children. And before long, the advice became something powerful. Not just a suggestion, a fact, or at least what everyone believed was a fact. Suddenly, Ethan understood. The myth hadn't survived because people were misinformed. It survived because it contained a small piece of truth. Beans are healthy. Beans support growth. Beans provide important nutrients. But supporting growth and causing height are not the same thing. That distinction changed everything. That evening, Ethan sat on the porch beside his grandmother. The sun was beginning to set. The same place where countless conversations had happened over the years. Ethan smiled. I finally figured it out. His grandmother laughed softly. Figured what out? The beans story. She raised an eyebrow. Oh? Ethan explained everything. The genetics, the nutrition, the sleep, the growth hormones, the difference between helping growth and causing growth. When he finished, his grandmother smiled. You know something? What? My grandmother told me the exact same thing when I was your age. Ethan burst out laughing. The exact same beans story? The exact same beans story. For a moment, neither of them spoke. They simply watched the sunset. Then Ethan looked toward the basketball court across the street. He still wanted to grow taller. That hadn't changed, but something else had changed. He no longer believed in shortcuts. He no longer believed that one food could magically transform his future. Instead, he focused on what truly mattered: eating well, sleeping enough, staying active, being patient, and giving his body the best chance to become what it was meant to become. Because sometimes the most powerful discoveries aren't about finding magic. They're about understanding the truth. And in this case, the truth was far more fascinating than the myth. Have you ever been told that beans can make you taller? Did this medical mystery surprise you? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoy uncovering the truth behind common health myths, subscribe to Medical Mysteries for more fascinating investigations. Because sometimes the truth is even more surprising than the myth. We'll see you in the next mystery.